Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 757 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and joining me in pretend low Earth orbit, you would not be surprised to see Chris DeBona.
Hello.
And Rob Roseboom. Oh, Rob, that was quiet. Are you muted?
Yes.
We lost Rob.
I was.
Oh, good.
I was just practicing being quiet. Which
Good.
probably isn't a great thing to practice while you're doing a podcast, I understand.
Right? They said lead, follow, or get out of the way, and I got out of the way every time.
Yeah, every time.
Idiocracy is a way too good of a movie. Chris, you recommended, I think, Young Einstein.
How was it?
We watched that this weekend, and I gotta say, it's a dumb movie, but I really had fun. I don't think that I've watched that
Come on,
since
Mary.
I watched it in theaters, and I don't think I've seen it since then. Yeah. But the big memory for me was that I say, with a surprising amount of regularity, how do they put the bubbles in beer, Dad? So much, in fact, that my wife, when she heard it, was like, oh, that's where that came from. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We can start off with the shocking development that Windows 11 is now showing ads in the sign out menu.
I'm shocked.
Right?
I guess it's under this log out stuff or complete your profile, sign up for Microsoft account, back up your files, prompt nudge, nudge, prompt nudge, nudge, prompt nudge, nudge, prompt. Don't forget to install Edge. Don't forget to use Edge. Have you considered using Edge? Here's an Edge page of your lock screen.
Yep.
Sorry, I got a little.
But then don't accidentally make the mistake of trying to change your mail client or your search engine or your web browser.
Have you tried Outlook?
And let's not kid ourselves. There might be a search engine company doing all the exact same things when you search.
We don't own your operating system.
No, you just own the browser market. And so if I try to use things you don't like in the browser market, then you nag me.
No, we're more subtle about it. We don't hit you in the face with it on every reload.
Okay.
Every time there's a new update to Windows, they're like, hey, have you considered Edge now?
Still not considering it. Gonna click that checkbox. It does kind of drive me crazy that I have to install a plugin just to like get around some of those weird Windows things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I have a few IPs blocked on the router.
There's something called Feedback Hub you need to uninstall,
I don't even know if I did that one. It's the search engine stuff that makes me the most irritated. Like all the built-in stuff, you got to like install a plugin to make it not go to Bing and stuff. I don't want to go to Bing. I'm a DuckDuckGo man. Come on. Let's see.
I'm a ducker.
I like to duck.
Me and my mom were.
I quack.
Careful.
That's just Bing, right?
Of course it is. But then I can pretend that they're not tracking me somehow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, I guess the other major news besides the Twitter layoffs is the Meta layoffs.
Yeah,
and this one is people. 4 or 5 times bigger. This is 11,000 people, but not necessarily, not so much in the engineering. I'm hearing more in the recruiting, which the idea that you would have 11,000 recruiters seems a little ambitious, but
Yeah. No, I'm sure it was only like 5 to 1,000, But yeah, they're saying G&A ads. I'm sure though there are some engineers getting hit.
Oh, of course.
So yeah.
If you're going to have a round of layoffs and you're a manager, even if you don't have the quota and you've got an underperformer, maybe now's the time.
Well, I mean, that's the message. Everyone's flat, and so they're like, okay, if you want to, get work done, you should address your low performers finally.
Yep.
And redundant teams. It's like we have sometimes teams doing the same thing.
Twitter was doing that too. They were getting rid of all the teams responsible for, all of it.
Yeah. So that's the Twitter way.
Yeah.
So I have a friend whose partner works at Twitter at like in their sysadmin group, right? And now I think their grand boss is Elon directly because so many people have left. It's like, I'm like, you should just write the root password on a post-it note and put it under his keyboard, on the way out. It's like, it's grim,
Yeah, you just leave your two-factor key fob thingy sitting in the drawer with a big ol' apology note. Oops.
Well, probably without the note, but yeah, you know.
The thing that's been
They
happening
were
in the
shipping
last
debug builds yesterday on the website.
like live,
all the
nice.
yeah. So if you control U'd, you could see like all the file specs of the internal network, and
Oh dear
I'm like,
God.
oh
Wow.
my,
no.
You're like,
Oh
holy crap.
no.
It's kind of awful watching
Yeah.
it just sort of collapse, you know.
The thing that I have the hardest time with, and I know that Twitter is, 100x what Slashdot was in terms of everything. I know this. But I have a really hard time understanding how their system is actually 100x more complicated. Not necessarily because
Well, I mean,
not necessarily, but because our system was like very not designed. It was evolved,
accretive.
right? Yeah, like we just, oh crap, we have to do this now, and there will never be any time to refactor anything ever. And we had 5 people that did all the engineering for like 10 years. And so when I see things like we have thousands and thousands, and Twitter, I don't know what Meta does. Meta has so many people doing so many things,
Yeah.
all pretending that they don't work for Facebook, and like with their virtual reality and all that. Like I don't know, but Twitter's like that's pretty straightforward. Wow.
So Twitter at one time had basically 200 million users. Probably 10% of them were 30-day active or 7-day active.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And I bet you all the same ratios we used to enjoy. 1/10 of the people who go there say anything. 1/100th reply.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
I bet all those ratios hold to within
So-
a few points of accuracy.
I would think so. And like, so if they're really 100 times Slashdot, let's just say, right? Do you need 100 times the employees, the servers, and all the rest? Obviously not. All right.
Sure, and maybe you do, but 100 times 5 is 500.
Yeah, well, so it's funny because as organizations grow, like the ad sales, I always thought that Twitter was the kind of place, and Facebook should be no more than ever half non-engineering, right? But if you look at like Trade Me, you look at some of these other, web properties that are mostly sales front ends with a
Yeah.
technology core, they're usually 1/10 engineering. So it's like, because Twitter and Facebook's job is to sell advertising. And
You mean I'm the product?
it's trite to say that, but I mean, it's what makes a lot of services available.
If I pay $8, then I'm not the product anymore.
Oh, good Lord. That whole thing. I just can't believe how hilariously bad.
Oh, this is great. And
it's like intentional at this point. It's like I have to think he's like, I'm tired of Twitter. I want to kill it. Like that was the motivating factor.
Do you think that, or you just think that he just doesn't get it on some level? Like,
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
So
he
this
said,
one,
because people are like, it's going to get a lot harder to run this place. He's like, well, we're going to have to be a lot more hardcore. And I'm like, hardcore? You're in the middle of Market Street in San Francisco with those employees?
Yeah.
I was
dreaming, bud.
Somebody on Twitter actually was saying something about how we were talking about the name changing stuff, and I guess
Facebook to Meta.
No, the fact that Twitter allows you to arbitrarily change your nickname. So of course we're now seeing people changing their nicknames, then verifying themselves, and then there's a bunch of impersonations. There was so many of them. There was the company
Free Insulin.
Free Insulin is the one that I think got all the headlines, but there's been tons of them. And I was somebody made a comment to the effect that Slashdot didn't let you change nicknames, we had I don't remember exactly what it was, but we were talking about the arms race of escalation in malicious attacks just from the name changes. And it went like this, okay? First, you didn't log in at all because everybody was anonymous and it was all the honor system. And then somebody started posting, like lying about Slashdot updates, but posting as Commander Taco. So I had to create usernames. And then they started doing typos and adding spaces or punctuation in the middle, so I had to start filtering characters out. And then they started So then I added the UID at the end with parentheses, right? And so then they started doing that. So I had to ban, and it was this ongoing like this
Battle.
arms race where like I don't want to do any of this. Stop being a dick, and then the system will just work. Well, Elon just went through all of that, and that for us was probably 2 or 3 months, where I would begrudgingly add a new restriction to prevent the latest troll attack, and then things would be fine for a few weeks. Elon gets to do all of it in like a week.
Yeah, he's speed running, every abuse mechanism, and not reacting appropriately because he exited. And the thing is, I don't know why, for instance, Twitter had an ML ethics committee. It's like, really, what were they doing? But like he did get rid of almost all of their trust and safety people.
Oh
who
yeah,
would do that job.
their compliance
talking
stuff is eviscerated.
This is gone.
Yeah.
I think they kept 10% of them or something. And I'm like, those are the people who are they're pulling a rose boom. They're waiting through 300,000 posts a day.
Right.
They're
Right.
or a year, and it's why are you they're doing work you don't want to do. You know that, right? It's
I'll never
you want
be
to take
the same.
time off of Rocket Electric Car Land to moderate Twitter.
So this isn't Twitter related, but it's just breaking news. Gallagher's dead.
No shit.
Man.
Yep.
That's been on my
Gallagher's
list.
died.
That's been on my list to show my kids for like months because my wife thinks that that the kids will hate it, and I'm like, no, they are 13. They will think Gallagher is the greatest.
It was one of the first VHS tapes that we ever rented from the store when it opened here. I think it was Gallagher Over or Under the Rainbow or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but
yeah, I was.
I'd love that when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean him smashing things and all the people with the ponchos in the front rows.
Yeah, good stuff.
I liked him because he was just like the king of the dad joke. Like why do they call them buildings? They should be called builts. They're already built. Things like that. That was a Gallagher joke that I still.
Now let's smash a watermelon.
Now let's smash fruit. That was on Comedy Central. Like if you had Comedy Central on in the whenever I was in like maybe 8th and 9th grade.
Yeah.
It was like the kids in the hall and Gallagher specials and then Mark Maron hosting stand-up shows.
Yeah, or Alan Thicke's night show.
I never saw that.
Well,
I guess nobody
Alan
ever saw
Thicke's
that.
father, not the guy who was Robin Thicke.
Now
Thicke?
who's going to play Gallagher in the movie now about his life?
All right.
Shia LaBeouf.
Is Doug Henning still alive?
Put a wig on the guy. He'll be fine. Well, that sucks. I was legit gonna like this week. I bet it's been that if not for the plumbing disasters,
you have like
in
a
my
little
home.
tickler in your calendar. It's Gallagher time.
Gallagher time.
But I have
there's a button that he presses in
beep,
the house.
Beep, beep.
It sets off an alarm.
It says Sledge-O-Matic. The icon is a little watermelon. No, I have a little reminder list whenever we come up with a movie that our rule for finding movies for Alex now is anything that gets referenced in Rick and Morty or Community.
Oh, I see.
If you get referenced in Rick and Morty or Community, then we throw it on the list, and eventually you're going to
talking right to Rob and Kathleen.
That's right. That's not to us necessarily. It's to the. You've decided this reference is important enough that my 13-year-old should probably have that in his quiver for the future. And we pick and choose and find the fun stuff. But Gallagher is one that's been on that list for me forever, but it's one that Kat has no interest in. But Young Einstein was one that you mentioned earlier in the week, and we jumped right on that.
I don't think I brought it up. I think you brought up Yahoo Serious, and then I waxed poetic about Young Einstein and Reckless Kelly. But Mary, we got to make our beer work. I mean, it's like it's like your first introduction in his young culture.
That's right. Or Tasmania. Let's see.
They're all the same.
Ouch. We did have an interesting discussion about trying to reduce all of those to like the American equivalents, Because I've often thought that Australia, like New Zealand, is kind of like Australia's Canada.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah. But then we were like trying to figure out, well, what's Tasmania?
I think it would be like the. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Melbourne's kind of their San Francisco meets Los Angeles meets Louisiana. So Tasmania is like the far-flung state that tries to say,
maybe it's
their
Alaska.
Chicago. It's their Chicago.
How
It's their
about no? How about
city,
Alaska? Alaska's where the crazies go, right? And I always thought of Tasmania as
well,
being like the
Tasmania
wild.
has crazies, but it's different. It's not like that.
Okay.
I'd say it's like their I think I'm gonna go with Chicago.
All right.
Because it's like, they're always like, hey, we're Chicago. We're the third most important city in the United States.
Let's fight about our pizza.
Yeah.
Well, we're
the center coast, like this whole thing. And, and they're so proud of their city, with their flag and their stuff.
Aw. We have the first, believe it or not, female crash dummy has finally been developed.
It's almost like women are people.
So this was a big deal a while ago.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that I remember years and years and years ago they were talking about making a female crash test dummy.
Yeah, I feel like there was like an episode of 99 PI about this years ago even.
Yeah. So I was really surprised that they didn't make one yet.
Yeah. This is a constant sore spot of discussion in my household, as there's a foot in height difference between my wife and I. And so car seats, it's hard to find a car where we're both comfortable. And then that always leads into, but what about the safety precautions? Because for ladies, they just make smaller men. It's like, oh my God. That the like weight is distributed differently. That probably matters in this case. Ugh. And don't get her started on seat belts.
We have differences in the shape of the torso.
Oh, thank you.
Very advanced. Well, I'm glad that after we probably have been doing crash test dummies since the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. Women are 3 times more likely than men to suffer whiplash injuries in rear impact.
I think that women are probably 3 times more likely than men to suffer. Period.
Wow.
Yeah, because they deal with us.
Oh, well, I mean, you can be a handful.
As we discussed earlier, some of us are better to deal with than others.
That's true. And now that I know that I'm the bottom of the barrel, thanks, guys. Let's see. Okay, so I have the story about recreating sci-fi terminals using VHS. And the story itself is not anything cool, really. It's just a scripting thing that lets you simulate... you want to demonstrate, this is how you type in your command line, But the webpage that I linked actually used this tool in order to simulate a number of classic movie computer screens and the animation, like the Jurassic Park thing. And I think they had some, let's see, we have the Matrix, we have Jurassic Park, we have the Whopper. So just in case Chris ever needs to simulate the Whopper, this does it, and it's font accurate, and it's color accurate, and it's just I just thought this was neat.
Huh.
So if you ever need to simulate this,
there's my Whopper.
There you go. That was for you, Chris.
Professor Falcon.
I saved you a Whopper.
How are you feeling today?
And you're even in front of a mountain range and not even in front of your Whopper today.
Oh, I was going to change that, actually.
Yeah. Oop. Oh, different spaceship.
Spaceship. War Games Whopper.
Spaceship. There you go. Spaceship. Yep. Ripley asking about Order 937. I just thought that was neat. Like, if you're going to build a tool like that, right on. Just do that.
Oh, yeah. Priority 1, ensure return of organism for analysis.
Right. Okay. So Rob, you shared a story about the I think this is Rob, the CIA Master of Disguise.
Yeah, it's on the page twice.
Oh, is it? Then might have been because I saved it too.
It's actually a pretty cool story. It reminded me of years ago. on HBO, they had a documentary about a guy. Well, actually, it was two different people. One guy just made eyes for people who had lost an eye, and another guy specialized in tattooing nipples for women who had lost their breasts due to breast cancer. And they're both really cool stories about their process, and it was really awesome how good they were. And this guy, it reminded me of that. It is what he can do uh, is amazing. And the fact that he basically learned all this craft in the CIA is pretty cool. He has some sort of, he doesn't go into details, of course, about anything, but some of his work is very, very good, as you
Yeah,
can see. I mean, you can see the line, but the blending on that is amazing.
Yeah, if you're not looking too
that's
hard,
amazing.
you're getting away with it.
Yeah, I know he doesn't have to wear hats ever again. I like the little dog hats, you know. It's remarkable.
Good for that guy.
Yeah, you know, this is heartwarming.
I'd like to think that
I wish they didn't have to put the stupid Mission Impossible video
right.
in. It's like, come on, dude,
Well,
really?
he actually, if you read the article, he goes on a little bit about when he first got started, how awful everything was. Like they put him in a room with wigs, and he's like, "What the hell are we doing? People are going to get killed. This
They're
doesn't
gonna
look real.
die.
This is awful."
They're all
So
gonna die.
they actually he hooked up with a bunch of Hollywood makeup people, and like a lot of the basics for their spycraft is based on what a lot of those Hollywood people were doing, because they had been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting story.
And it turns out if you dress up in full Klingon makeup, you can travel freely through almost any Soviet nation, and they don't care. They're just like, whatever.
Or Ren Fair.
Or Ren Fair. Chris, did you watch the Jenny Nicholson video on Evermore?
I watched it all.
I did too.
All glorious 4 hours.
4 hours.
I had it going while I was building a thing. I was like,
but she mentioned Omega Mart.
This.
She mentioned Omega Mart halfway through. Yeah. I was like, yay! I want to go to Omega Mart so bad.
You should go to Omega Mart.
If I ever go to Vegas, that's on my to-do list. But
copious free time.
Right. Well, I haven't left Michigan in 7 years.
You know where you shouldn't go though, for a relaxing holiday, is Auschwitz.
I had to read this
we
story.
We can talk about Jenny Nicholson more, but we should wrap up.
I like the story just because it, like, I guess the bots aren't ready to take over yet, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole thing that happened is KFC has this automated system for their tweets. They have a bot that keeps track of special occasions, remembrances, and stuff like that. And it just so happened it's like, oh, Crystal Knock, we'll go ahead and promote our chicken sandwich for that. Whatever that is, it's on the calendar of my noteworthy events, so I'll tweet about it. So KFC invited everyone to celebrate basically the beginning of the Holocaust with a chicken sandwich with extra cheese.
Delicious.
And KFC, of course, had to apologize about their bot and their process. I'm sure someone got shit canned.
Right.
I mean, it's a bad look, gentlemen.
Right.
It's a bad look.
Right.
I mean, they did not see that coming. And
it's
frankly,
like imagine if you owned a bungee company like for bungee jumping, and then offered people like half off on 9/11's anniversary. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
be like that.
Yeah, it'd be like that, except a bot came up with it instead of like a human being who should know better.
Funny stuff, though.
Yeah, maybe
it's Memorial Day for Crystal Knock. Treat yourself to one more tender cheese in your crispy chicken. Now at KFC.
Oh, deep fried.
Oh my God.
Taste the immorality. Yeah, that's a doozy.
I mean, it should have come with broken glass. I mean, if they're gonna
for sure.
Yeah, right. A memorial glass that they ship with it, like the old Grimace glasses that McDonald's would out.
Have you ever looked on eBay for what those old McDonald's glasses from the 80s go for?
I had one of those. I love my damn Grimace glass.
I used to have like a lot of those. Those used to be our glasses when we were kids. Let's see. The last one that we have on the list is the Hellraiser puzzle box, but for kids.
Yeah. Your,
There
your
you
learning
go.
shall be legendary even in hell.
1977.
What were they thinking? Hellraiser STEM box? It's meant to teach them what? How to bring forth the the rapture? Oh, good lord. We have to get one.
Yeah.
Right. I was a little bummed. Like I thought that looked really cool, and then they show the picture of the little girl who has it, and
Somebody took it down.
and it's so small. Like the picture I was in my imagination, I was picturing something. How big is the cube in the movie? It's
about Rubik's Cube size.
Oh, I imagine
it's a little bigger.
it bigger.
No.
I'll Google not a whole lot because he maneuvers it with his hands like that. It's not like a giant thing.
Oh, it's so funny. People are now selling lookalikes.
Knockoffs.
Yeah.
But those don't send you to Hellraiser's dimensions. They send you to other dimensions.
Well, to be fair, the puzzle box, I guess you could travel other dimensions with it too, but it was mostly about getting the Cenobites and Pinhead to show up.
Yeah, it was transferring them through dimensions, not you so much.
Right.
But I assume that they would
you're right.
take
It's only slightly bigger than a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
If this image is to be believed. I think everyone's trying to sell cubes now. It's hard to find just an image from the show. They're all like modified to have that person's version of the damn Hell Cube.
I mean, the only other thing I can think that would be kind of cool is if they sold somehow the orbs from Phantasm, in drone form.
Oh yeah, very safe.
Right.
The
very
ball
safe.
is back.
Right.
Nothing scarier than a chrome sphere.
Well, it's got a little knife thing that sticks out of it and a drill.
Totally. It is a scary monster.
There's a lot of junk on Amazon,
Yeah, there is.
You think?
Yeah.
Back to Jenny Nicholson and the Evermore park disassembly.
That was a great video.
Oh man. Yeah, it was really something.
I have nothing but undying respect for that woman and her videos. She does the research, and there's something about
she's
her.
an earnest fan. She's not making fun of anybody.
She's not mocking this. She's being honest about it, but her truth is so razor sharp. It's just like, oh yeah.
Oh no, Kevin Conroy died too.
Who's Kevin?
Batman?
The voice of Batman.
Oh no.
Oh, that's bad.
How old is he? He was born in 55.
He's not that old.
So he's 70 or something?
That old.
I wonder.
Yeah, it's 66. Gosh.
I wonder what Gallagher had to do with it.
Well, maybe they went out together.
As
was foretold in the prophecies.
Was Batman a fruit bat?
It just reminds me of years ago when they had the picture of the python that tried to swallow the alligator in the Everglades but exploded. I wonder if it was something like that. Those two.
Well, I would point out that Gallagher is 10 years, not to the day, older than Kevin Conroy. So maybe there was a whole May-December suicide pact. Just saying.
That seems unlikely, but sure.
They hit a timer and then smashed each other with sledge-o-matics at the same time.
That's right.
Dun, dun, dun,
no,
smash.
They got together in front of their kids, held hands, and then were shot so that they can create a new generation of comedians and crime fighters.
But they forgot the Hell Cube, so they were unable to bring forth their replacements.
That's true. That's probably ouch.
Maybe should have made a better checklist.
Yep. That's a bummer. He was still actively voicing Batman too, right? He was the voice even
Actually, yeah.
Conroy. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey kids.
He could be the Joker, I guess.
You know who he should have been? Harley Quinn.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, it's perfect.
Got the big hammer. Maybe that was the true source of the inspiration of that character. I'm just Gallagher, Mr. J. So yeah, I know that Jenny Nicholson video was awesome.
It was
when I saw that it was 4 hours long, I was like, oh no, because it did take me like 5 days to watch the whole thing. Because when do you have time now to watch a 4 hour long YouTube video? But man, like I'd never been in a grid park, but I have certainly spent enough time working around failed rich people to see, well, I guess Twitter even maybe, watching all the weird squanderings of money, the weird mistreatments of employees. Man, that whole
What cracks me up about this whole thing is the costume changes. She goes through like 9 costume changes.
yeah,
during
each
it.
segment, but her costumes are based on like that one is what that is that actor.
Yeah.
Like there's a actress.
Can you go back to the wizard for me?
The wizard's pretty great.
I don't know. Let's see now. Fairy.
No, the outfits were generally tied to the themes.
The grid swag.
Well, that's a whole thing. In the end, she talks about how she couldn't actually get. Yeah, that was actually the character she was cosplaying as, one of the characters from the Nevermore story that she talked about earlier, the one who kept crying.
Yeah,
and was all like, "Oh,
it's a lot of work to cry all day."
Right, that'd be exhausting. But yeah, the wizard suit was great. My favorite bit of the wizard thing was she had the beard over the top of her nose, and she pulls it down. And she's like, it says something to the effect, "I've been wearing a mask for so long that I forgot that beards don't go over your nose." I was like, you know what? If I were to put on a fake beard right now, I probably would do the same thing, and I know technically how mustaches work.
Look at this. 2 million views.
Yeah.
A 4-hour video.
So, okay,
like,
Chris.
They probably watched some of it, not all of it, but still,
what is a YouTuber who just streamed out a 4-hour long video that has 2 million views? What'd she make?
So assuming a commercial break every 14 minutes, she should do pretty well with that.
But like, just like, is that $1,000? Is that $1,000 or $1 million?
Well, so my rule of thumb, and I'm not on the YouTube side of the house. This is just from watching YouTube videos. It seems like if you get 1 million views, that's reliably $3K.
Okay.
And remember, YouTube has the best rev share in the business, right? So that's an average 14-minute video, though, right?
Yeah.
So assume people got through an hour of this thing. They jumped around probably.
How could you skip around? This video is so good.
I mean,
so it's supposed to be about $18 per 1,000 ad views.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the kind of thing you're doing. Like fandom is not going to monetize like a mortgage finance guy, let's just say $3,000 for 1 million views of 12 minutes long, right? So
sure.
if you have that's 12 ad breaks per viewer.
It's about $10,000 if the math I found is right.
Oh, okay.
Because you make about $5 for every 1,000 views. But that's standard too. So she's got
standard. So multiply that by 12. So she could make.
Yeah, but I imagine the tail of that goes off.
Call it 60, 70 grand.
Yeah.
For this
video. We should bust out our statistics distributions. Like, was it Poisson distribution? Which I don't know. Yeah, which distribution, statistical distribution this would be. I don't. We talked about that because my kids watch some YouTuber named Jimmy Here, and he does these weekly comedy bits, and they're like, an hour, or they're like 20-25 minutes long. And as a family, we watch them every Wednesday because that's what my kids want to watch. And I was trying to
1.5 million subscribers.
Yeah. And I was like roughly guessing that his Wednesday videos are probably making him, $3-4 grand per video, just based on they're 20-30 minutes long. He gets 1 million or 2 subscribers, or 1 million or 2 views. That's probably not insane. But then I'm like, he's just a kid and he's making like 3 or 4 grand every Wednesday just for making his silly video. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, like I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but my neighbor kid,
the train guy,
he isn't making so much money that he doesn't ever have to work again. but he's a teenager making 50, 60 grand at least a year off of ads on his train videos. And that is more than enough to set a bunch away.
In rural Michigan, that's a comfortable
that goes
life.
a long way. Yeah.
Well, that was the last thing that we had on the list. Wakanda Forever is out this weekend, right?
Yeah. Are you guys gonna go see it?
I don't think I can this weekend, but I'm hoping to on Monday.
What about Andor?
Oh,
watch last Andor.
It's so good.
Wait. You want to watch Jenny Nicholson or
Wakanda Forever?
Yeah.
You know, it's not an either or situation, Chris. You can have both.
Yeah, I was kind of. I wasn't a huge fan of Andor at the beginning, but it's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, wrapped up well.
The whole prison. Well, there's 2 episodes left in the season.
Yeah.
This ends up. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything for you. There, he was in prison, and he's been in prison for 3 episodes now. And when you go to prison, you have to eventually get out of prison if you're the guy who's the title of the show. And this was the getting out of prison episode, and it was awesome.
Did you watch the Weird Al movie yet, Chris?
Not yet.
Oh, you're not even trying.
I'm not even a real nerd, I put it on.
Been a busy week.
Outfit,
But you watched Young Einstein twice.
I did not watch Young. I did watch Jenny Nicholson. I mean,
4 hours long.
While I was doing other things, but
sure.
Crap.
A Jenny Nicholson video is like 1 click away from being a podcast. You don't really need to watch it most of the time. She occasionally shows props, but
as long as you see which outfit she changes into, and then you can go back to.
Well, when she shows clips at the park, like you need that because you need to see how horrible this theme park is.
Well, it was funny, because I went to the Void. The Void had a traveling show, and it was at a conference that I was at. Mm-hmm. So I did the Void, and it was I think it was their Star Wars one or their medieval one, and it was really neat. But it's just VR, right?
Yeah.
But instrumented, and they had like chairs, so if you sat on the throne, you were sitting on the chair.
Yeah, it seems like you could build that up in such a way that you could reskin a place pretty darn fast. It seemed like it could be a good idea. You could
get any Laser Quest going out of business and turn it into a.
Well, every mall has 20 stores available for you with plenty of real estate. You can just bulk that out, and you just got to rough it out in styrofoam, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, stucco. But
people didn't want to wear masks
the whole time though. I'm like, this is so Utah. This is the most Utah of Utahs, because I spent a bunch of years there growing up, and it's just like I can totally see all of this happening in Provo. Provo, by the way, even everything she's saying about this place, this is probably the coolest place in freaking Provo to take your kids.
Which is why a lot of this was just about like how they have regulars, because where else are you going?
It's not even that there's nothing else to do. There are places to go and to eat and the rest, but all the food is terrible. It's a BYU university town. It's just it is a deeply boring place. There's no other way to say it.
Look, man, we live in Michigan. What are we gonna say?
I mean, if you're a Mormon person, I bet you it's wonderful, right? It's probably terrific.
Sure.
But
is there anything else? I still haven't seen Black Adam.
Either. Don't care to either.
Well, I will see it the millisecond that it's available on a streaming service. But right now, I would rather see Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna have a chance to do that probably until Monday
on the Disney Plus.
No, I'll see it. I'll see it once my kids go back to school, because neither of my kids have any interest whatsoever in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You see, Marvel movies are for old people.
It said that your kids don't want to see the Marvels.
My kids don't want to see anything that's not a YouTuber reacting to something.
Huh.
But if you got a video of a YouTuber reacting to Wakanda Forever, they'd probably watch that.
Okay.
It's generational, man. Do we have anything else we want to hit up before we go about our day?
Not really.
Nope.
All right, gentlemen. Then before we say goodbye, I will make sure that I click a screenshot button so I don't have to go find one. And then I'll say goodbye to Chris DeBona.
I'll say goodbye.
And Rob Roseboom.
Bye.
That was episode 757 of Geeks in Space. I was Rob Commander Taco Malda. We'll see you next week.
You sure were.
Bye. Yeah!